Hello everyone, welcome back to another Monster Hunter video. Today is my first ever longsword guide video on what skills you should have, what set you should have, and how to approach these certain hunts, why you should have these skills and such. This longsword build or guide video is particularly those who just want a decent optimal build for a longsword, or for those who are just getting into the longsword. This longsword build is actually really catered to those who want to play comfortably and also whoever go through these hunts casually. Just for a quick reminder or quick note that this isn't really a build meant for speedrunning. This doesn't really do the highest DPS, but I do have another longsword build that I will showcase after this one, after this video, where I actually show how much damage you could actually do with a longsword with a particular set. I already have it prepared, so tune in for that if you're actually looking forward to a full-on affinity build. But for here, this is just, you could say, a budget build or a comfy build for those who want to get into longsword or just want to have, again, a decent optimal build. So let's get right into it, shall we? So before I actually show my set, I think it's very important for you guys to actually know this. So if you guys actually don't like my set, you could always use this. So the Malzeno set already has a lot of great skills to use, the full set armor. It comes in with Weakness Exploit level 3, Wirebug Whisper level 3, Blood Right level 3, Part Breaker level 2, Attack Boost level 4, and Blight Resistance level 3. Literally every single of these skills that is listed, well, maybe Blight Resistance, maybe you don't necessarily need that, but everything else is actually very important to have. And it also comes with a decent amount of decoration slots of what you want to put. I actually highly recommend to put in Critical Boost and maybe Evade Extender level 2. It is possible to have that on, to have much more mobility, and also Wirebug Whisper really helps with the amount of mobility you're just gonna have with this set. Another build I want to showcase is the Furious Rajan set. Now, the full set actually gives in a lot of abilities. The important ones here is the Furious level 3, Critical Eye level 3, Razor Sharp level 3, Chain Crit level 2, Maximum Might level 2, Evade Extender level 3, and Critical Element. This all help with the Abyssal Longsword, because this is basically the longsword to use for your end game builds, because it gives the most raw damage. And again, in my next video, I'll show how much damage you could actually do with it for doing just simple builds in the game. My purpose on doing these guides is just to show how you could do these simple builds that are good enough for these certain hunts. The problem is with this whole full set, by the way, is that it doesn't have enough slots, but it does give good amount where you have a level 3, a level 4, and another level 3, and another level 4. So use those slots wisely on what you want to use. I personally, I think I sneaked in a Weakness Exploit for this whole set for the decoration slots, but again, it's up to you on what you want to use. I highly recommend Critical Boost or Weakness Exploit. I personally like Weakness Exploit. But yes, the reason why this is really good is because of the Furious ability level 3, because it gives, again, boost into your stats, whether it is stamina or defense. And then Critical Eye increases affinity by 15% on level 3. You have Chain Crit, which gives, you know, a little attack boost and elemental attack. It gives Razor Sharp, where it prevents you from losing sharpness. Maximum Might, where if your stamina is kept full for a period of time, and for a longsword you don't really use a lot of stamina, this increases by 20%. 20% is already a lot. The reason why affinity is very important for this longsword build I'm about to show you, this longsword build here is honestly just not the best to use when it comes to its affinity. That's why the goal is to boost up its affinity so we're able to use as much damage as we can. And Evade Extender is very important due to how Evade Extender level 3 really just gives so much mobility during these hunts. So you'll see. So now that's out of the way, now let me actually show you my build and what I do to approach these hunts casually. And I think this is actually an ideal longsword to use, especially if you're new to the longsword. This is basically the vampire longsword build that I made personally. And basically every time you break apart, you get health from it. So basically every hit you do with this longsword, you're gonna gain health somehow. But the twist is that you have to break a monster part. But first, let's start off with talking about the Abyssal Flicker. Now, this is the end game, the last boss for the main story. It is sort of hard to grind for because you need the mantle for it. But once you get the mantle, it's worth to actually get this, even though it has negative 25% affinity. So the first slot you want to put in is the Kushala, for the Rampage slot, I mean. You want to get the Kushala Diora Soul, which gradually increases affinity by continuously landing hits on foes in a short space in time. That's where your Clockwork Slash, one of the Silkbind attacks, is the most important thing to do, because that's when it actually kicks in as well. It really benefits from that, where you increase affinity. Again, the goal is to increase as much affinity as you can with this sword. So for our first piece for this set is the Astalos Helmet, which comes with 3 decoration slots, 1 level 4, 1 level 2, and 1 level 1, where we are able, like, this helmet comes in with chain crit level 1. Again, I wasn't focusing on getting chain crit, but since, hey, it's here in part of the set, it's a little bonus skill to have, and it also comes with stun resistance too, as with part of the helmet. And then it also, I put in for the decoration slot, Evade Extender level 2, Weakness Exploit level 1, and Speed Sharpening level 1. Now this is one of the most important sets to have, and I hope everyone has already grinded enough Malzeno pieces, or I mean hunts, because again, the Bloodright ability is one of the most important abilities for this budget build, you could say, or comfy build, because Bloodright does a portion of damage that is converted into health when striking a broken monster part. So with level 1 you only activate the effect, level 2 increases the amount of health you recover, and level 3 further increases the amount of health you recover. We want to get that to level 3. That's the most important thing, because we want to get as much health as we can as we're literally slicing through the monster. So it also comes with Weakness Exploit, and with Weakness Exploit level 1, it already increases to 15%, level 2 increases to 30%, and then level 3 increases to 50%. So the point also for the sets is to have Weakness Exploit. And I also added Critical Boost and Flinch Free as part of decorations, because Critical Boost, again, increases damage dealt by critical hits to 30%, and if you max it out, it goes up to 40%. So Critical Boost is very important as well. But what's also very important if you want to use Bloodright right is the Part Breaker, where it's easier to break or sever parts of the monster. If you max it out to level 3, the part damage is by 30%. So you want to have that 30% in the beginning of the hunt every time you try to fight a monster, because it's pretty useless if you fight it by end game during the hunt, because, or I mean late game during the hunt, because pretty much the goal is to break as much parts from the monster so that when you're approaching and fighting the monster, you could literally just be up in front and personal with the monster and able to just constantly do your attacks and heal, even if you're getting hit constantly. So you will do chunks of, you'll gain not only chunks of health back, yes, you'll lose damage, but when breaking parts in beginning of the hunts, you'll just, with having Bloodright, you'll be able to get health back very easily. And I also added Flinch Free because, again, you'll basically fight like a juggernaut when you're not getting knocked back from silly stuff from other reactions or to small damage. And then when you max it out to level 3, it prevents knockbacks and tripping. So I recommend putting it at level 3 if you can, but if you can't, at least put it at level 2. So with the Barbania gloves, it gives weakness exploit, part breaker, and good luck. That's a bonus skill to have. Again, I wasn't trying to get good luck in there, but it was part of the set, so there you go. It slightly increases luck, and the reason good luck is a skill that has a good chance of increased quest rewards. But yes, it comes in with weakness exploit, so we're at this point we're level 2 for weakness exploit and has part breaker, or we're probably we already maxed out on weakness exploit from here, and we're on level 2 part breaker. And what I added is maximum might, because this is actually very, very important to have, because while active, it increases affinity by 10% when you're just on level 1. 10% is already a lot, and it increases if stamina is kept full for a period of time. And like I said before, with using longsword, you don't really use a lot of stamina, and most of the time your stamina is full, so having that 10% affinity is very useful. And again, I added speed sharpening and flinch free. So one of the most important ones to have is the Malzeno coils, which comes in with level 2 blood right. I have level 1 part breaker, and then also it comes with a bonus skill of attack boost level 1. Again, as much as I want to add attack boost on this set, unfortunately we're not able to. But yes, we're pretty much now maxed out on part breaker and blood right. And I added speed sharpening on the decoration slots, and stun resistance. So with the Kaiser Greaves, it's very important, because the reason why I put this on is not only it has a good decoration slot of level 2 and with a level 1 slot as well, it also comes in with a level 1 critical boost. And I also added the stun resistance level 1 to it. So we're, I think, already maxed out on stun resistance, and also with critical boost. So critical boost is very important, because like I said, it increases damage up to 40% if you max it out. And for the pedal ace, normally if you want to have damage, then I recommend you get the pedal ace that prioritizes damage. But since this is a comfy build or budget build, and you want to have as much health and maybe possibly defense, this gives stamina up, health up, and a good amount of defense rather than attack up, because again, we're having a lot of affinity at this point, or a decent amount. And for the talisman, I got this from the new melding system from here once you beat the main story. Now I got very lucky where they actually just gave me quick sheath level 3 along with stun resistance, but the thing is, I do actually have another talisman that is actually much easier to get compared to the talisman I have now. So I'm about to show that on my other set. So the con about this set is that you just have less skills, but because of this talisman, because even though it gives me a level 2 slot, this talisman gave me only quick sheath level 2, and then if I wanted to max it out to level 3, I had to get a talisman that is up to level 2. I have to use my level 2 decoration slot, and then the other level ones is honestly up to you on what you want to put. I personally put in free meal because I don't like using or consuming a lot of items. Free meal actually saves you from consuming a lot of items, so you could basically sort of have a build where you're using much more items like potions and things that you just consume physically. Of what your character eats or drinks, and you could potentially have a limited amount as long as the skills free meal skill kicks in. And when free meal skill kicks in, like when you put it at level 3, it activates 45% of the time, and that's a lot. You know, it really helps. But for here, I think I was only able to put it for level 2, and you know, that's completely fine. But yes, this still operates the same, because pretty much you still have the main skills you have. And again, if you want to get this certain talisman, I think it's easy to get. I know the talisman is pure RNG, so it might not be the same for you, but that is the talisman I just showed is a high rank talisman, which you could get from the Moonbow if you just request the quick sheath ability. So you keep grinding for that if you can. If not, then or if you want the full-on set that I'm showcasing for this certain build, I highly recommend you grind with the last melding system, whether it is reincarnation or anima. try to get quick sheath level 3 if possible, or at least quick sheath level 2 with a level 2 decoration slot. I actually recommend having the quick sheath as a talisman rather it being a part of a ability on these certain slots. You want to use these decoration slots on your armor sets, so you could add in the important skills rather than quick sheath. But quick sheath is really important for longsword users because it helps you sheath way quicker in battle. The reason why quick sheath level 3 is very important because it's very important of the longsword's combat ability for when you're constantly sheathing your longsword, because you use it for counters or charge attacks and such with the longsword. So it is very important to have, and I highly recommend you use it at level 3 because you're able to sheath it very fast, especially against these very fast enemies. But again, since I had an extra level 2 slot for this decoration, I decided to just use protective polish. But again, you could use completely anything that you want. Maybe you could replace this for evade extender, so you're able to move more, because in this build I think I'm only on evade extender level 3, so that's the thing. Or I mean level 2, so that's honestly the problem of this certain build to have. But here's all the skills. We have good amount of skills that are actually racked up on here, but again, the important ones is critical boost, stun resistant, weakness exploit, quick sheath, part breaker, blood right, speed sharpening, and evade extender. All the skills on the first page is very important for the longsword build. So now we'll showcase it how it's like in the training room. So now that we're in the training room, I think it's very important to say again the switch skills if you guys kind of forgot or is kind of lost. It's always important. I think the important switch skills that I want everyone to have is, if you want also the ideal DPS for your longsword, is to have drawn double slash, because it does way more damage. Spirit Reckoning combo. It's very important. Have it on either of the swap scrolls. Again, I don't know how your guys' playstyles is, but at least have it on either of the scrolls. Also, it is very important to have the Silk Bind Sakura Slash. That is the key thing for this certain build, so the affinity could constantly kick in. So the reason why also maximum might is very important, as you see on by my name on the top left corner, there is a sword that's highlighted in red, which is the affinity icon. Every time your stamina is full, you gain again 10% 10% affinity, which is very important because we want to build as much affinity as we can. And also, for those who don't know what affinity is basically having much more damage or critical hits every time you do damage towards the monster. So oh yeah, and by the way, this is why it's very important to do the double. Let me actually tell my pets to sit so you guys could actually see my damage. It is also, again, the reason I'm about to show why the drawn double slash is important, because it does chunky damage. That's 200 damage by just pressing triangle. The drawn double slash, that's potentially almost 300 damage. That's how important this is. But when using longsword, it's very important to actually build up your longsword to the red gauge. Every time you see how I have a yellow highlight, first you saw like a white highlight and a yellow highlight. It's very important to build that up, and how I build that up is basically by pressing R2, and it will kick in, or the longsword will kick in. Oh my god, that's almost 300 damage by just the second slash itself. How I was able to actually upgrade that longsword, the longsword's color, is simply just constantly pressing R2. As long as I finish the combo, by the R2 combo, it will constantly upgrade. And having the red gauge is the max damage of what the longsword could do. Again, look how strong it is. 462 by just pressing triangle. That is just insane. So that's why. And also, this is quick sheath. Again, very important to have because it's for counters, for countering enemies, but it's also for charge attacks. And if you have it just on level 1, you will do these charge attacks very, very slow. So please have it on level 3. Also, by the way, this is one of the best moves to use for the longsword, which is the Sacred Sheathing Focus. What you want to do, if you want to fully use the Sacred Sheathing Focus, is to use the Sacred Sheath. Well, first build up actually your gauge to red, and also the reason why Sakura Slash is important. Look how strong that is. See, look, you're doing hundreds of damage, or almost hundreds of damage for each hit. Much affinity kicks in along with the chain crit, along with the Kushala Dior Soul. You see that? We're hitting high numbers. And typically the Sakura Slash is not like the best, but with this crit build, it is very important. Also, by the way, I think it's very important to note that Sakura Slash actually helps build up your longsword gauge. So as you see how my red gauge is lowering since I'm not doing the combo, but when you do the Sakura Slash, you instantly gain a whole bar. So if you're on yellow, it goes to red. So you go when you have no color highlight or whatever, you go to no color to white to yellow to red. So if you have 3 wire bugs on you, when you find another wire bug, it is very important to just honestly just use up all 3 of your wire bugs if you want to. I mean, up to you, because it will help build up the longsword gauge. But as you see, I did the Sacred Sheathing Focus, which again, if you want the max damage, you charge it up all the way from red, and you just let go of it. And also you can move, by the way. This is why Evade Extender is very important. Evade Extender level 3 will make you evade extend way further. Now I hit for 1300 damage, but to be honest with you guys, the actual damage, I just hit it in an awkward angle. It actually reaches up to 1800. That's the max damage that it can do. So let's actually build this up one more time, and let me showcase this to you guys. Let's do the Sacred Sheath Focus. And there's your 1800 damage. During these fights, it's incredibly important to always position your Sacred Sheath Focus charge attack right, because if you don't charge it up right, and if you're not charging from red, you're not going to hit 1000 damage. See, this is only charging from the white bar. See, that's only 90 damage. Or here, I'll show you how it's like. Did I say 90 damage? I mean maybe 100. Yeah, so this is charging from the white bar. I'm just trying to position myself right. So that's 432. That's honestly not bad, but you could do way better if you charge it up all the way from red. And also, again, it is very important to charge all the way from the red bar so you could hit that 1800 damage or 1300, whatever it ranges to. You're gonna hit to 1000 to 1800 depending on where you hit towards the enemy. And it's important to always position your character on where the effective part of how much damage you could do towards the monster. You might have to look at your hunter notes for that on what monster you need to look for. But again, you can do as much damage as you can. Now, I hope this guide video helps, along with, I'm sorry if the video is sort of long and I sort of talk a lot when it comes to this, but I really do want to inform for people who want to get into longsword and who want to get into, like, you know, getting into how much damage they can with the longsword. So again, I hope this guide video helps. If you have any sort of questions, let me know. I'll try to do my best to like answer them, but here are the skills that you want. Again, like personally for me as a longsword user, I've been using longsword for like, you know, since World. I am a new Monster Hunter player. The important thing to have for longsword is just basically the critical damage for this game. So that's why weakness exploit, critical boost, and is like the priority on these builds, along with some certain affinity abilities that you're able to get, along with like maximum might and such. Again, I wanted to have critical eye, but it's hard to have this sort of build along with critical eye. So that's why for the next video, if you want the max damage, subscribe and drop a like, because there will be more build videos, or it'll be coming up, and I'll show like what sort of build I will be having. And also, again, I think what's also very important of the build in terms of like survival and movement and how fast you want to attack is evade extender and quick sheath. I can't stress that enough. Those are very important abilities for the longsword, especially if you don't have a shield with the longsword. But anyway, I hope you guys really do enjoy this video and hope you find it very informative. So remember to drop a like and subscribe. I hope this build will help you because you know, this game could be rough for Sunbreak, you know, especially for newcomers. So I hope this comfy budget or this optimal build can help. Peace off, guys. Have a good one.